Welcome to Permission to Heal. I am Marci Brockman. I am thrilled that you are here. Today on Permission to Heal, I have an amazing woman, Victoria Rader. She is a possibility coach, a transformational speaker, a founder of You2 Shine, YU2 Shine. She provides individuals and audiences with powerful shortcuts to identify and free their inner potential so that they can turn what they think is impossible to possible, probable, and profitable. After realizing that all business and practical approaches are limited by an individual's subconscious programming, Victoria created Y2 Shine. Now, with 2 decades of experience, she has helped thousands to see their true potential, create their life of endless possibilities, and move from survival to stability to success, and finally to significance. The author of apps for your iPhone or your smartphone, I Happy Me and I Happy Daily, creator of popular mini meds, the best-selling author of books Heaven is for Everyone, Until You Win, and Until You Shine, and founder of the Quantum Freedom Movement, Victoria is a founding partner of John Maxwell's team of coaches, trainers, and speakers who teach success principles. With combined social following of over 142,000 people, Victoria has shared the stage with Les Brown and John Maxwell and has been interviewed as an expert in the energy healing field by Doug Llewellyn, the creator of Judge Judy. For her expertise, Victoria is a regular contributor for SoCo Neighbors magazine and is quoted as an energy transformation expert by Romper. She has a PhD in metaphysical studies. She is a John Maxwell team founding partner, speaker, trainer, and coach. She is an NLP, neuro-linguistic programming and hypnosis master practitioner, a Theta Healing Master and Certificate of Science, You2 Shine EFT certification founder, DISC certified human behavior consultant, quantum touch practitioner, and a Reiki master. Anyway, so join us for this lovely conversation. Thanks very much for being here. The Permission to Heal podcast is sponsored by Instacart. If you're anything like me, no matter how you try to schedule your life, you're always super busy. And when it comes to doing errands and grocery shopping, we need a little help. Instacart is here to help us get our essentials delivered in as fast as an hour. It is amazing. With Instacart, you can do all your shopping online at your favorite local stores, grocery stores, pharmacies, Target, Costco, Staples, Sephora, Bed Bath & Beyond, 7-Eleven, even some liquor stores. And an Instacart shopper will shop for you. All of my Instacart shoppers have been super helpful in choosing my items. If the store is out of what I've asked for, the shopper will text me pictures of similar items for me to choose from and will change my bill to reflect the changes. Then the shopper delivers my items directly to my door. And you can choose contactless delivery, which helps keep everyone healthy and safe. I rely on Instacart for grocery shopping every week, and sometimes for even my non-prescription drugstore items. Instacart is like having a personal assistant help me with my shopping every week. Get your groceries and essentials delivered in as fast as an hour via Instacart. New customers can get free delivery on your first order of $10 or more. Just click the link below, which will take you directly to instacart.com so you too can get the help you need. Just click the link below and you can get your groceries and essentials delivered in as fast as an hour via Instacart. New customers can get free delivery on your first order of $10 or more. Instacart.com, your personal and quick shopping assistant. You won't know how you lived without it. Do you like a personal breeze? People are always coming up to me when I have my cell phone fan on, and I have this lovely little breeze. Keeps my face cool, helps combat hot flashes, makes very little noise, and I have my own little personal breeze. I get these fans, tiny little fans. They don't weigh anything. They come in multiple colors. Each one, so you can see, each one has dual connectors. So you have for an Android phone. And if that's what you have, then you can cut this piece off. But if you have an Apple phone, it has a little connector, snaps into the bottom of your phone, and voila. Does not eat up a lot of the battery juice, but it keeps you cool. These fans save my life. I hot flash all the time, and it's just enough to keep the cool air moving around my face and circumvents the hot flash so I don't get drenched. I cannot recommend these little fans enough. They are amazing. Total time savers. No, these fans are total makeup savers. They're face savers. They're hairdo savers. You know, I sweat under my bangs and then everything gets soaking wet. These fans are amazing. I buy them on Amazon. You get like 5 or 6 to a bundle, and they're inexpensive ways to keep yourself cool. And when you're wearing a mask, it keeps the air around the mask and in the mask a little cooler, so you're not as hot and claustrophobic and so on. So tap on the link below. I'll take you right to Amazon. You can pick up a set yourself. Stay cool, everyone. So welcome, Victoria. How
Thank
are you?
you. I'm fabulous. I'm thrilled to be here and grateful to be talking to you and your listeners.
Thank you. I'm glad we got this together finally. I think we were sort of jockeying for position for a bit, or maybe that was just in my own head. I don't know.
We were divinely scheduled.
There you go. I like that. Divinely scheduled. It was the way the universe intended it to be.
You betcha. Despite our best efforts to upset it, it still happened exactly the way it's meant to.
I love that. I'm going to adopt that from now on.
Go for it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you are a possibility coach, a transformational speaker. What is a possibility coach? I've never heard it phrased in quite that way.
It's a fantastic question. Neither have I until
You invented it.
until I have been guided to do that. You know, my publicist said, "Hey, you do so many things. It doesn't help marketing. You need to
Right.
have a brand. What is it that you do?" So I share a story very openly, vulnerably. I just went to a couple social platforms where I have my clients, and I said, "Hey guys, when you refer me out, what do you tell other people that I do?" And, you know, we were very blessed. Within a day, we had over 100 replies. And there was one theme that just stood out with such, you know, clarity in over 80% of those, which was, I didn't think it was possible for me to dig out from this huge debt. And now I'm running a multi-million-dollar business. I didn't think it was
Wow.
possible for me to be happy. And now I'm in a soul partner relationship. Or, you know, I didn't think it was possible for me to live with this stage 4 cancer. And here I am. And it's just, and I have chills as I say that because it just came so clear that, okay, this is what I do. I find what you currently believe is impossible. I connect you to your divine potential. We free it together, and you turn what you thought was impossible to possible, probable, and profitable. You know, from 1P to 3Ps,
There.
possible, probable, and
Wow.
profitable. Yeah.
It's beautiful and alliterative. Wow. I have chills just thinking about that. That's awesome. And
I know.
and that really touches every aspect of everyone's life.
It does. And when you look at the word impossible going forward, it's just a reminder that even in the word itself, it's I am possible, right? Yeah.
Wow.
So if you look at something that's impossible, you say, that's okay, but I am possible and I'm going to make it work.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
The
I'm here all
simplicity of
day.
that language. I'm going to write that down right now.
Oh,
Wow. I always take notes while I'm doing a podcast. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but that's the way I do it. I've just learned so much from my guests, and I'm grateful for
yeah.
all of you. It's awesome. Okay, so let's just get started with the 6 quick questions, and then that will
Mhm.
lead us where we need to go. So, what 6 words would you use to describe yourself?
Um, Divine soul,
We'll count that
wife.
as one.
Okay, wife, mother, and then passionate, purposeful, and loving.
Beautiful. Excellent. What is your favorite way to spend a day?
In the ideal universe, I would wake up and parts of it is ideal universe already. Parts of it are on a wish list. I wake up, I meditate, I study some of the sacred writings, then I write some. I love to play tennis. I love my zoo. I have three dogs and a cat, so I always
Oh,
spend some time with them. And just, I love working. I love doing what I do. I love traveling. So on that ideal day, I would be somewhere learning something from someone.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't think of very many things better than learning new things from people you respect and care about. You
yeah.
know, that's pretty awesome. And we have a bit of a zoo here. We've got 4 cats and 7 fish tanks worth of fish. And
Yes, yes, my soul sister. We shall be sharing a room in one of those institutions.
exactly, exactly. My
Yeah.
husband's breeding guppies
Oh,
and
wow.
trying to breed angelfish, although they're very stubborn and they tend to eat their new fry, which is very infuriating.
They're more like
Um,
fallen angels at times.
oh my god. And we had a couple of deaths in the last week, which wasn't
Oh,
so great. And he happened to fall into evidently breeding snails. He bought a few, and we turn around a week later, and there are more snails, and they're just like
amazing.
taking over. So now he's taken them and moved them to all the other tanks, and they eat all of the icky stuff, you know. So it works out well.
You're creating an ecosystem, like a
Absolute 7 of
real
them.
complete
Well,
ecosystems.
they're
Yeah.
live plants he
Yeah.
uses, so
Yeah.
that changes the nitrogen cycle, and then he's got the bottom feeders, and so that changes the way the frequency upon which he needs to do water changes and so on. He's got it down to a science. It's
That's pretty
really
great.
amazing. He's he's researching the genetics of guppies, trying to create new colors by mating
Hmm.
different looking ones and fin patterns and colors. I don't, it's all beyond my English teacher brain, but he's having a very good time.
Oh, no, no, you can describe it beautifully.
Yeah.
You're making, you're making a great team, sounds like.
Right, but I can't, I don't want to actually be the
Yeah.
one having to figure out the Punnett squares
The
of
epigenetics. We'll leave
the epigen.
epigenetics to him.
Yes, that's his thing.
Yeah.
But they're fun to watch, you know. And the cats are really good with them. Surprisingly, they watch them like their videos. They don't try to get in, which is always a good thing.
Oh, neat.
Wouldn't want that. Okay, so question number 3: what is your favorite childhood memory?
Favorite childhood memory. It's interesting. I think minor things for our mind, I guess, are major things for our memory. I grew up in the Soviet Union, and little things were huge things when you have to stand in line for toilet paper, right? So, my
Wow.
dad, towards the fall of the Soviet Union, my dad kind of took a very huge integrity stand. He was an editor in chief for one of the newspapers, and when Chernobyl happened, the big nuclear
Yeah,
explosion,
that was
he was
huge.
asked, he was asked to go and report that it was safe. And so he went there, came back, and was throwing up and said, I can't do such a thing. It's clearly not safe.
Right.
And so we kind of lost, everything. And fascinating thing was, without going into all the details, as a result of that kind of integrous step, he got to go to US in, I'm trying to remember, 1986, 87, maybe shortly after the explosion, when everything was coming to the surface, with freedom of speech and so forth. And he was invited on this very small delegation of journalists of integrity. And when he came back, he brought M&Ms. And so the memory is my first time having M&Ms. I mean, it was this out of this world
Oh,
experience of colored what I've come to become probably pretty bad for your health plastic covered candy.
oh,
But
they're
at that
so good
point,
though.
the joy was just beyond and beyond. It was probably one of the most, and it's
Wow.
silly. It's silly that it came to mind. I kind of went with whatever came, and this is what
Sure.
came in mind. Hmm.
I love M&Ms. I kind of tell myself that the peanut M&Ms at least have protein in them, so they're not all bad.
There you go. We eat nuts. It's one of the
Right.
health groups. Yes.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's, you could write a book about your experience with the
I have.
Soviet
I've written a
Union.
bunch. I've written a bunch.
Wow. About your life there.
I wrote
And
one book that was called Until You Win, and that's the
yes.
8 secrets to winning the race of life. And I shared little steps that were happening there as experiences, that were kind of guiding to overcoming and learning principles of success. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to read that. I have
Oh,
that
wait,
listed here.
wait for the one I'm writing now. Hold it, hold it. That was a baby book.
Okay.
Haven't you experienced that when you
Yeah.
write something or you create a program and then a year, two, five later you look and you go like, oh, this is what I thought. How interesting, because as we
Right.
grow,
I
so
can do
yeah.
it better now. Right.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful memory of where my mind and my world was at that point. So,
Interesting. I can't even imagine not having grown up in New York. I can't imagine not having had an M&M until
right,
1986. It was the year I
right.
graduated high school, so I mean, I'd had
Wow.
M&Ms my whole life.
There you go. See,
Still love
Joy.
them.
No excuses for being upset. That's it. If you had M&Ms, you
You're
got it
good.
made. You got it
Absolutely.
made.
And now they have so many different kinds with pretzels and peanuts and
Yeah.
dark chocolate and white chocolate. I don't like white chocolate though, but they have all sorts of
Don't either.
options. Okay. Speaking of food, number 4, what is your favorite meal?
Sushi.
Well, that was quick. Awesome. Any
That one I knew.
specific kind of sushi or all
Um,
sushi?
Most sushi. I think I go through favorites, I'll go through Spider-Man but I just, Yellowtail, but I kind of like sushi. Speaking of New York, is the first time I've ever tried was when we had a huge, what year was that? 1995, I guess, or 96, January of 1996, maybe, when there was this huge snowstorm in New York where everything just, there was no movement of, of any kind. My husband happened to be trying a case there. He was a federal judge. He stepped down as a state judge and was invited because the case was very difficult. And so we got to be in this New York that was frozen and quiet, and the only places you could go to were in walking distance for those
Right.
couple days. And so he had a Japanese client who introduced him to sushi, and that was my first time having sushi, and
Wow.
I just loved it. And it's become a family tradition. Every Sunday I have my family come over, my parents, my brother and his wife, and whenever my kids are in the area, and we just always, it's our sushi Sunday.
Sushi Sunday. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love sushi too. And tuna, yellowtail, I don't care.
Hmm.
Eel, I just love
Hmm.
it all.
That's
I've
me.
never tried to make my own,
Yeah, we
although
don't.
my stepdaughter has with the kids, with my grandkids, and
Uh-huh.
but I don't know. I'd rather just have somebody else make it. It's part of the enjoyment, not having to do it myself.
I believe that. I'm the same way. Yep.
Yeah. And there's one of the Japanese restaurants near here that we frequent has, they call it hajiki salad. It's like seaweed salad, but it's black seaweed that evidently takes, I don't know, like 36 hours to make or something. Like it has to sit and ruminate in itself. I don't no idea what's in it. It looks disgusting, but it tastes so delicious. You
Oh,
just have to
wow.
not look, you know.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good. All right, number 5. What one piece of advice would you like to give your younger self?
Take a chill pill.
Okay.
Things that seem to matter, at the moment, really don't. Just
Mm,
kind of trusting more and stressing less.
that's great advice.
Yeah.
That's great advice. My husband has this theory or philosophy in life that if the thing that you're upset about isn't going to bother you in 5 weeks or 5 months or 5 years, why bother about it now?
Hmm.
You know, just handle it, get it done with, and move on. Um, so I frequently ask myself while I'm getting upset about something, is this going to bother me in 5 months? Am I even going to remember it? And the answer is usually no. And It diffuses all the volatility.
That's a great advice.
Excellent. Number 6, what is one thing you would most like to change about the world?
Me, always. The world
Interesting.
changes as I change myself. There is no other way.
That's a beautiful answer,
Eh,
Victoria. Nobody has said that before. I've never
yeah.
even thought about that. And I'm all about giving myself internal permission to do things. And it didn't occur to me to answer that question that way.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I could contribute. I just happen to believe it soul-heartedly and
Yeah.
full-heartedly.
Well, it's totally true. You have to start with yourself. This is the only thing that you can actually affect
Yeah.
change on
Yeah.
or
And
with.
the irony is you also finish, it's been the most glorious journey of realization. I kind of the one teaching I go back to that I've come to develop and love is that notice what you notice, because what you notice is what you create. And I've learned that you can only allow yourself to notice what you notice if you remove all judgment of yourself. If you
Yeah.
just leave room for love, and then you notice what you notice, and then you can shift your notice, and then you can align yourself with better things. And if every one of us does that, the world has no choice but to change. I can't change you. I can't even change a guppy fish. I mean,
Right,
it's
exactly.
just so there you go. Your husband can create an environment for that to happen, and changes either happen or not. But yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I actually took that quote. It's in my notes here, right off of your
Mm.
website. Notice what you notice, because what you notice you create possibilities. And
Yeah.
and I think I understand that, but I feel like it's much deeper than I'm even aware of at this very moment.
I find that to be the underlying uh, principle of all creation of our life. I think, because we often start with, if you look at people that teach law of attraction or manifestation, they
Mm-hmm.
always start with what is it that you want. But we don't get in life what we want. Jim Rohn said, right? We get in life who we are. And so we can
Oh.
think we want things, and we focus on our 15-minute visualization. Okay, simple principle. I'm going to visualize the car. It's a new car. It's a new smell. I'm driving it. I'm loving it. It's so good. It starts so beautifully. Okay, visualization is done. Then I come outside, and the person that lives next door to me is driving that very car. So I need to notice how I notice it. Am I happy for them?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I jealous? Because whatever it is, how I notice and what I see is what I create. So if I'm upset that they have the car and I still don't, I've postponed that car for myself. And so it's
Okay.
just, it's kind of a awareness before alignment and action. We first become aware in order to be aligned with what we want, and then act on it. And I find that the biggest gap between people wanting things and having things is a lack of awareness from where they're creating. They don't notice what they notice.
Mm.
They talk about, well, nobody understands me. Well, that means you notice it. You notice that people are not understanding you. And the more you notice it, the more you express it, and the more it's expressed back in your life. So if you just say, okay, today I'm going to pay attention to one person, I'm going to find that one person that understood me fully and completely. You notice that person. Next day, there are two. And a
Mm-hmm.
week later, you say, wait a minute, I'm so easily understood. What happened?
Right. What did you fundamentally
Yeah.
shift or change within yourself to bring that about?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. When I look at other people, other, you know, uh, anybody that I would know or meet or come across, I don't very often or ever really feel jealous that they
Mhm.
have something or doing something that I want to do or that I covet. But I use their tools, their knowledge. I emulate what they've done to
Mhm.
try to learn a new skill and bring myself closer to that. And I don't know that that's the right way to do it either, but, it seems to be
No,
helping.
I think, I'm trying to remember. I think it's John Maxwell that started this whole principle of we're the average of five people around us.
Right.
So, for either a marriage or for money, if you want to see what your average for money is, who are your five money people in your life, you will have the average of what they have. So that principle of emulation is huge because once again, as you make it easier for you to notice things you want to aspire to, then you make them accessible to you and you can reach for them. So I think it's modeling is a fantastic, fantastic way of creating.
And I took that from my teaching practice. If I want I teach high school English, 11th and 12th grade high school English. And so if I want them to, I mean, even something simple like writing an introductory paragraph of an essay, I model what they want them to do with an example and then let them use that model to create something on their own. And so I kind of have been using that as using the model as a model to create my own reality here, with my books and art and the things that I'm trying to do. So
Mhm.
interesting.
They're lucky to have you.
I think so.
I think so too.
So, as a possibility coach, who are your ideal clients? What kinds of people gravitate towards this kind of assistance?
Yeah, it was interesting for me trying to answer that question because I've helped different ages, different genders, different walks in life. But the ideal person is the person that wants to change and wants help
Mm-hmm.
and really wants to reach their highest potential. I had an opportunity, I don't know whether you've heard of him. I had an opportunity to be coached for a few months as individual coach by Bob Proctor. And Bob Proctor is the guy from The Secret,
Okay,
and
I've read that, but I didn't recognize the name. But okay.
yeah, and so he uh they have kind of a coaching system that he was trying to have me implement and sell for them, which was fascinating system and I loved it, but just was not aligned with my path. But I got to have sessions with him instead individually. And out of those sessions, I think, the price ticket was very, very high for
Mm-hmm.
that luxury. But it was all worth it to me for this one principle that he taught me. He said, you have so much to offer. So make sure you go where you wanted, not just where you're needed. And
Oh,
I think he has saved me years of effort because naturally, all of us have something to offer and we are so willing to offer, but it's all about finding people that are willing to receive what we have to offer.
right.
And I know what I offer is a possibility. And I also know that not everybody is seeking to maximize their possibility. So it's like, I'm naturally wired to try to put a life in a dead fish. Here's a fish on the shore. Let's just breathe
Right.
into it. I mean, you can do it. You can do it. Fish is like, just want to be dead now. So I had
Nice.
to learn. I mean, I just had to learn that,
Sure.
okay,
You
okay,
can't resuscitate every
I
fish.
can't resuscitate, and neither should I. And it was jokes aside, it was such a huge shift for me that I can honestly say I've had a luxury of having absolutely incredible clients and students because they all share one thing in common. They want to reach their highest potential
Mm-hmm.
in the shortest possible time. So that would be the ideal client, somebody who's seeking to reach the highest potential. And that's, of course, an ongoing on process, but using all of the possible shortcuts of both conscious and subconscious mind.
Wow.
Some people still believe they have to do it the hard way, and we have to honor people's beliefs. That's one of those laws of the universe, free agency. So,
Well, but from my own experience, there's no such thing as a shortcut. That you can't do anything quickly. You want to build a business, you can't just add water and stir and have it show up the next day. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of learning and growth that has to happen in between.
for some things, it's very true. For subconscious programming, it can be instantaneous, and then the results and shifts can also be instantaneous. So there are two things that we're coinciding with, right? The energy implementation is instantaneous,
Mm-hmm.
but the physical reality has to respond to the physical laws. So when I witness a healing on a physical level, I witness the healing instantaneously. And then it happens to take the number of hours, days, or weeks that the cells within the body need to respond physically. So that principle of both instantaneous energy reality and continual physical reality is in this constant tension and balance. So yes, I can't move from here to, England in a blink of an eye, right? I have to buy a ticket to the plane. I have to get on. I have to fly.
Teleportation would be amazing
It-
otherwise,
and
but
it- and
you
it,
know,
and it
that
is possible
notwithstanding.
for our consciousness, right? So
Right.
I can go and scan the area now, and I train that particular skill. So what mind can do and what body can do are two different things. So the shortcut is the gap between the two, that your body is learning to start moving closer to the pace of the mind versus your mind slowing down to accommodate to the pace of your body. That is the
Huh.
shortcut. That is truly the definition of a shortcut. Who is the driving force? Is it the light that you are or the matter that you are?
I
Right?
definitely think it's the light.
Right. But if it's the matter, then we create so many more hardships because our body experience yearns for suffering, where our light experience yearns for joy. And so it's this tension. Have I suffered enough to deserve the joy? I don't think so. I don't think I'm deserving. So I'm
Ah.
going to create a little bit more. Okay, now I've justified it. And it's a powerful tension between the two. So if we talk about a shortcut, it's that permission to live
Mm-hmm.
from the place of joy without constantly justifying it by suffering.
So you're worthy of the joy. You're worthy of
Yeah.
living that
Mhm.
without having gone through the
Mhm.
pain and sweat and tears and suffering in order to get
Yeah.
there.
And
That
repeating it over and over and over and over again. One time is plenty. So I tell my clients on an intake session,
one's
one time
enough.
is plenty.
Right.
You got this story. Let's learn from it instead of repeat it year after year after year after year, which a lot of us do.
Yeah, I see myself doing that too, to a certain extent, and I've had these epiphanies where I feel like I'm doing the right thing, and then I realize that it's a very unhealthy, like puritanical
Mm-hmm.
work ethic thing that really has no basis in what my reality is. And so I have to like fine tune all of that out of my process. But um, it's interesting. I hadn't actually thought of it in that particular way before. Victoria, you are
It's possible.
brilliant.
It's possible. Just showing
It's
possibilities.
possible. Absolutely. Wow. Okay, so the key components then of your advice, your help, your stewardship, your possibility coaching meets people where they are and
Mhm.
what they need based on where they want to go or what they want in their life to be possible,
Mhm.
right?
Very
So
much so.
so each sort of redundant. I don't even know why I'm saying this way, but each interaction with a client is obviously unique because you're giving that client what he or she is missing in their possibility.
It's true. I also find that there are patterns, right? While the souls are unique, the patterns are repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I have several programs. I have a wonderful subscription program. It's called Quantum Freedom,
Oh yes, I
and
wanted to ask you about that.
yeah, and this is a group of people that are at a certain level of personal growth and development. They want to get to that higher level. And so we study different works and I break it down by different guides. And what happens there is that the energy of the whole creates the program. And so when you change the programming, when you change the, I call it the BS, belief systems, right? When you identify the BS that no
Nice.
longer serves you, when you let go of that BS, you can bring some new, healthier, more whole paradigms, and create from that place. And it's fascinating to me because today, of all this, I mentioned it to you a little bit before we talked about serendipities,
Mm-hmm.
and we were working on little s, like the scared, somebody asked, said, I have troubles with commitment, and of course I scanned the group, and yeah, okay, the group's currently struggling with commitment. So, and this person said, I feel now that we've re-identified the commitment here for the business call, I'm struggling. I feel a little bit guilty about all those commitments I haven't kept. And
Mm-hmm.
the answer that came in was so, I'm still digesting it for myself because it was so powerful. Because what I've come to realize is that, oh, we always keep commitments. It's just that who we keep a commitment with. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we don't keep a commitment with something or someone, it's because we're keeping the commitment with a scared self. There's a scared self inside,
Right.
and we're committed to that scared self. And so the growth and the enlightenment lies in the shift of a commitment from committing from a scared self to a sacred self, that higher self.
Wow.
And that sacred, and I jotted it down as it came through, and I was blown away by simplicity and the power, that the difference between those two words, when you look at them, scared and sacred,
They're the
is
same
where,
letters. I just wrote it down.
yes,
They're just reversed.
it's where C is. It's where
Right.
the commitment is, right? It's where the C is.
Wow.
Isn't it a mic drop? I mean, it's just in my heart and in my mind right now, which is why I'm like, and so we're talking about all of this that you're mentioning, and in a nutshell, that's what that shortcut is that we're trying to describe, right?
Wow.
You can continue going through every single scared self, because we have many of them,
Sure.
or you can continually go to the light that you are and recommit to her or to him, as it might be,
Mm-hmm.
and live from that place of commitment. And that is what appears to the world as a shortcut. Because when you are guided by that sacred self, you shortcut all of those scared selves patterns, and you can get ahead by weeks, months, years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a moment, and you're right. It was a moment in the fall of 2015 when I realized that what I had visualized as my sacred self, I'm using your words,
Mm-hmm.
um, was scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
And without realizing it until after, because that's when we realize things, I was repeating the same scared self pattern. I was making decisions based on scarcity, not on fulfillment, not
You
on
just gave me
love.
chills. Scarcity as scared self.
Right. Well,
Woohoo! Leck.
wow. There we go. I'm writing
Oh,
that
we're
down
going.
too.
We're going to town. We're going
We're
to
going to
town
town with the
here.
words here. Yeah. But I was going from toxic relationship to toxic relationship
Mhm.
because I was not ready to embrace my sacred, worthy, lovable
Mhm.
self. And I was still hiding behind that scared version of me that didn't feel worthy of love. And I kept trying to fill up my cup from the outside rather than from the inside. And when I realized that that's what I was doing, it was an epiphany. And
Mhm.
that moment of mental awareness took a split second.
There you
And then
go.
there was a major pivot, and I cleaned all of that toxic bullshit belief system, all of that BS out of my life.
Yeah.
And since then have not looked back. So that totally fits.
Yeah, that's your spiritual shortcut. You took it.
I took it.
You
I
took
took
it.
it.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was you were mentioning loving yourself, and I was actually, I'm writing this book, which is writing itself through me. Um, and I don't know what the name eventually will be, but right now it's F off marble, I'm free. And what came with that whole thing is, like, in English language, and for me, it's like third language I speak. I grew up speaking Russian and Ukrainian, and the gift there is that when you learn the language, you pay attention to idioms. You pay attention to what the words
Sure.
mean. And I've noticed that in the even the best of the personal growth and development, circles, it's this whole movement of love yourself for who you are, love yourself for who you are. And it's fascinating to me because I think that in itself prevents us loving ourselves as we are. Because there are days when you can't be somebody, so you are nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those days when you need to be loved the most. But
Mm-hmm.
because we're trained to be loved for somebody, or for being somebody, or for doing something, we're disallowing love to ourselves as we are.
Right.
So I think when you open that whole thing of, okay, I can be loved as I am instead of being loved for who I am or for what I'm doing,
Exactly.
that's
We're
when the
human
healing,
beings,
that's when it
not human
becomes.
doings.
Mhm,
I keep saying that in episodes over and over again, but
mhm,
it's the same idea.
mhm,
We deserve love and connection and belonging and all of that just for being, just for our existence, just for the sake that you can draw breath into your lungs. You don't
mhm.
have to do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I on a previous episode was um talking to a guest who talks about highly sensitive people.
Mhm,
And I took her quiz, and it turns out that I am a highly sensitive person, and that my extroversion, my need for peopling, my need to be out in the world and interacting with people has its own limits, and it gets to a point where I am like sensory overloaded and have to take a day to just retreat into my own little world. And I have to read or paint or draw or journal or meditate or, any or all of those things. But I need a day of being quiet and not being the extrovert. So I always thought that I sort of struggled with introversion and extroversion, but that really was a very simplistic way of looking at it. I just needed to like sort of decompress all of the sensory. And so that's part of accepting and loving and embracing my sacred self, because I'm piecing all of these things together because I have to, it's my process. It's how I'm wired to interact with the world. And so I used to feel bad about it. Like on those days, I was a sloth and I was unproductive. And, to me, productivity used to be everything. And that if I didn't produce something, then it was a wasted day. And I've had this very significant shift in the last few months, really, since the pandemic, really. So it's probably been about a year and a half, where if I don't produce something, that's okay. It has nothing to do with my value or my worth. I could have a total sloth day and not be judgmental about it. Just accept it as part of who I am, as a necessity for all of the other wonderful things that I do.
mhm.
So I think that was an important shift for me as well.
Well,
So,
and with sensitivity, because you're sensitive to the exterior world, it has to be balanced by sensitivity to the internal world. That's all it is. It's
right,
seeking balance.
right,
Because the less sensitive you are, the less need for balance because it is already balanced for you. So
right.
that's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so here's something else that I saw on your website, that you've authored apps.
Yes.
So you don't code, you just create things and find
I
people to
have
code,
I
right?
have a wonderful team. So I create the content and I have a fantastic team that makes that contact look, touch, and feel good. And so,
Okay.
yeah, we have two apps. One app came out a few years ago. It was called I Happy Daily.
Uh-huh.
And it's an affirmation app that is based on the book that kind of was a bestseller on Amazon for us, which was called Heaven is for Everyone. And Heaven is for Everyone was a daily affirmation of 52 virtues. Our souls, our spirits, however you describe that higher self of you, the self that's always been, the sacred self as we arrived on it today, right?
Right.
Whatever language you use, it has come to develop certain virtues. That's why we're here. And so the app is organized by 52 virtues,
Can you give
52
me an
weeks.
example?
I can give you an example from today. Let's look at what it is today. How about that? I happy
Brilliant.
daily. So this week we're doing the virtue of moderation. So
Okay.
July 28, affirmation for the virtue of moderation is: I moderate my food with grace and ease. I release the loud cravings and learn to hear my body's quiet request for the nutrients and supplements it needs. I nourish its nutritional needs with care. I honor and love my body, and I witness it getting stronger and healthier every day. This process is easy, and I get better at it every day. I am moderate, I am. So the structure of the affirmation is built in your linguistic affirmation. And then because there's also an audio to it, there's an energy charge that when a person listens to it or reads it, they close their eyes, that charge goes through them. So it
Huh.
is more than an affirmation, it's an energy activation. That shift is palpable within their subconscious mind. So of course, the purpose for that whole app is to reclaim your happiness. And that was our baby app. And the one that we're just about to release on Google, it's released on Apple, is called I Happy Me. And it's just my baby. I just love it. There is a free version to it, which is daily blessings. You take the phone, you shake it, and a blessing that you stand in need of the most pops up for you. So
Wow.
I can play. Let's do this. Let's see what Marci needs the most right now. Let's shake it.
Oh, I'm going to so totally download this.
All right, let's see. It says, wait, a miracle is in progress. May you be blessed with an optimistic outlook. May you see all the best and the highest, most optimal solutions. May you have wisdom to choose the best outcome and pursue it with strength. Be blessed. So whatever
Wow.
you're kind of trying to choose between, you've been blessed with the best and highest outcome. So I love it. That part is free. And then there are different parts that when you subscribe to the app open up to you. I did study on grief. We found out that grief has 90 aspects. So there's a
Wow.
powerful part of it that's called my grief that allows for you to work through every aspect. I've created 35 laws of money. So there is a part that's called my money. And every day, you kind of shake it and the law for the money that you need pops up with an activation and a practical advice. And so that's just where it is now. We're going to be adding some videos with tapping for releasing emotions, and we're going to be continually adding to the app while keeping it at a minimal subscription that makes it available to people in the world that can't afford paying my session fee or fancy subscription, or that
Right.
that are seeking for this help. And so I'm very excited about the apps because they are the answer to my question: how do I make what I do accessible and affordable to people that can't have it otherwise? So
Wow.
yeah.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
Yay. Wow. It didn't even occur to me to like that people would create apps like that. And I have an affirmation. I don't even know what it's called, but I subscribed to this thing. Oh, it's called I Am. And like once an hour or a few times a day or something, affirmations will show up. This one says, Today I will go with the flow and live in the moment. But they're not, you know,
They're
sometimes
different.
right.
They're different.
But they hit with or they don't hit. They hit or
Yeah.
miss. Sometimes they're like, oh yeah, and sometimes I don't even notice. But that's interesting. Interesting. So the app I Happy Daily goes with Heaven is for Everyone.
Yeah, and that we offer that as the book itself. We stop selling it, and we offer it as a free gift. If you go to mygiftoffer.com,
Mm-hmm.
you can have the book as a free download. And then if you wanted to get an app, I don't know what it is, $2.99 maybe now. It's and it's
Very
one
cheap.
time. It's one time. Yeah, I Happy Daily is very cheap. So.
Very
And
cheap.
then I Happy Me we're working on, and as I said, it's available on Apple. And I'm trying to remember. I think the subscription is $1.99 a month, probably. But blessings are free. This is my stand. Blessings should always be free.
Yes. Yeah. So they're not blessings.
Otherwise, they're not blessings.
Right.
Okay. So
And you also have a podcast that you're about to launch in the autumn
yes, yes, I'm super excited.
about the
Uh,
voice.
yes, all about the voice. September 17th is when we're launching it.
Wow.
So I'm
What's that going to
learning
be
from you.
about?
I'm watching you as a host, Marci. I am watching you as a host. um, so the podcast is going to be aligned around 4 areas of really creating an abundant life, which is awareness, alignment, action, and abundance. So it's first becoming aware of your inner guidance, and then aligning yourself with it, choosing to listen to it. Because we've all had moments of pure genius, and we either listen to our guts or God's voice, however you describe it, or we choose to ignore it. And we know the difference in the outcome, right? So it's that from awareness to alignment. And then the next step is taking action through the fear, through the discomfort as aligned. And then just witnessing how the life of abundance in all areas of your life unfolds as a result of those. So that is the purpose for the podcast. I've lived this principle in my life, and it has really created a life of genuine abundance for me. So to a point where I do what I do because I love what I do, not because it pays for my meals or for my roof over my head.
Right. So will this be pre-recorded like interviews or
Yes.
monologues, and then what kind of guests are you going to have?
The guests I'm looking for are people that have trusted their inner guts and have found a version of the voice to listen to. The best way to go with that concept of notice what you notice, in terms of voice, I believe that the voices you listen to is the voice that dictates your life. So if you're listening to the neighbors, to the naysayers, or to the scared self, that's the life you lead.
Right.
But if you listen to the divine, to the intuition, to that sacred self, to the higher self, to inspired people, that's the life that you create. And so every guest that we bring on is somebody who has chosen to listen to a very healthy voice in their life.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so that starts September 17th.
Yes. Can't wait.
That's so exciting.
I'm creating the 4 first like monologue episodes to describe what the podcast is about. So this is why I have my fancy equipment, because I'm all yeah.
You put a lot of forethought into it. I know when I started Permission to Heal last November, there was no forethought at all. I had a guest speaker named Chuck Garcia, who's has a podcast of his own. He's a financial expert. He's a mountain climber. He's an assistant professor at Long Island University, and he had pushed into my senior classes as a guest speaker through Zoom, and he gave a presentation called The Art of the Podcast. And I thought my students would be thrilled. And 2 classes, 50 seniors, 1 student was interested. The rest of them were asleep. But the universe brought Chuck Garcia to me because as soon as I was listening, I couldn't help myself but take notes. And as I was listening, I realized that I had all of the tools and the skills already to create a podcast. And I swear by the end of that school day, I had already figured out, in one school day, I had already gone from not even thinking about a podcast to knowing the name, the structure, what it was going to be, how it was going to, and by the end of that week, I had launched my first episode. It was just launch, start before you're ready, It's, and episode 38 just dropped today.
That's amazing. That's a beautiful story. No, it's kind of funny. I was sitting in the Social Security Administration parking lot because, the long story short, I should be a citizen for 23 plus years, but they didn't have my status, updated. So I came an hour early and I was waiting for that. And I thought, oh, well, I'll just look at my schedule. And I saw all the interviews I'm invited to do for podcasting. And that still small voice said, you should do a podcast as well. I'm like, okay. And then I heard all the other voices, right? My survival self, you don't have time to do this. And then all of that clutter over 10 seconds. And then I said, okay, fine, I'll do it because you're telling me to do it. But what should be the name? And the name came in all about the voice. I said, great, what should be date? And it was 9/17. So that's kind of that cookie crumbled. And I'm now understanding why, I kind of, very much like you, it's kind of go forward and then look back in amazement of how things have unfolded. And so
things will evolve as they evolve, but go in before you're ready. Just start. If you wait till you're ready, in my experience, if I wait until I'm quote unquote ready, it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
I
because
have
you've
to
learned everything you had to learn.
I have to go in with the passion and just jump in with both feet and then figure it out as I go.
Beautiful. No, I think that's the action part of the podcast. That is the action part.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and you have a team, so it'll be easier. I'm sure you'll be able to delegate some of the responsibilities. I'm a one woman team, so I've had to learn every aspect of this, but
Wow,
it's been
that's
fun.
admirable. That's admirable. That really is admirable.
Well, thank you. I do what I do. I do what I can, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of financial resources, so I can't sort of delegate out stuff, but I really um, am driven to bring this message of healing and
Hmm.
self responsibility and looking inward for all of the
Hmm.
answers, and giving ourselves permission to live our best lives without reservation. You know,
Hmm.
I'm like driven to bring this out to people, so it is what it is. Victoria, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It was great. Great to be here with you. I had such a fantastic time. You have
Yeah,
such beautiful energy and spirit.
thank you. Thank you. You as well. You as well. So I will link your website and quantum freedom and all about the voice and I happy me and all of that to the show notes. So if you're listening or watching on YouTube, just scroll down. It'll all be there. Thank you so much, Victoria. This was fabulous.
Thank you. No, I had a great time.
I'm so
And
glad.
off the record, I guess, when I was starting, I found that you can, if when you don't, when you're short on finances, when you barter talents,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. So, I'm sure you have some phenomenal talents that other people can't afford,
Mm-hmm.
but they have talents that you need. And that's kind of what got me started on a lot of things in life, just kind of saying, this is what I can offer, this is what I need, and then asking around and exchanging. And that's how the app girl, I was doing healing for her, physical healing, and she was creating my first app. And before, I could
Wow.
ever afford to pay her. And so now I'm really implementing everything I teach. I'm in a position where, as I said, I can do it and I do it with joy. But that's not how I've started. So yeah,
Cool.
bartering rocks.
Ordering rocks. Awesome. So, a totally separate question that I will
Hmm.
edit out of the podcast. But so you grew up in Soviet Union speaking Russian. So I'm assuming you read Russian as well.
Hmm.
I found recently a bunch of letters that were my great grandmother's. She grew up in the Soviet Union and emigrated to the United States when in the early part of the 19th century. It was like
Hmm.
1905 or something.
Hmm.
And these letters were written more than 100 years ago in hand script Russian. Do you think if I send you like a photocopy of the
Yeah.
letter that you'd be able to read what it says?
Yeah, send it to me. We'll see what you depends on our handwriting.
Yeah.
But if it's easily readable, I can absolutely read it. Absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
just send it to me.
awesome. I'm so excited because I'm wondering what all of these letters say. We'll try with one and see if it works, but I've got a small little pile and I'm dying to figure out like who my great grandmother was writing to because family folklore says
Mhm.
that she emigrated to the United States by herself at the age of 18 and really thought that the streets were paved with gold, which is what they
Wow.
were being told. And so
Wow.
she was living in a shtetl, you know, Jewish,
Hmm.
whatever, came to the United States, came in through Springfield, Massachusetts, and then moved to Brooklyn, New York, expecting a beautifully rich life and came into poverty. You know, the streets were not paved with gold, and she was living in a tenement in Brooklyn and working as a baby nurse for other people while she left her own children unattended, and there was nothing else that she could do. They were taking aid from everywhere they could, the Jewish Aid Society and whatever. And my grandmother used to tell a story that she was so embarrassed by how impoverished her life in the United States was that she never communicated with the family in the old country anymore because
Wow.
of that shame. And then which I sort of never understood, but okay, a totally different generation. And then after my mom died, I found all these letters that had been in my grandmother's possession that nobody has ever bothered to look at or translate. And I thought, well, here's this whole piece of family history that may give us new information about where we all came from.
That's amazing.
Interesting.
Yeah, those were interesting times, You couldn't fail. You just couldn't fail. Failure was not an option.
No, she escaped pogroms
Yeah.
in Russia. There was nowhere to go. There was no looking back.
Nope.
And anyway. Anyway, so I will photocopy one of those letters and send it to you. And, see if you can do something with it. That would be fabulous. Thank you so much, Victoria. This was really wonderful.
Thank you. It's great meeting you. Great doing it. And I'll see you. I hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. So I will send you, we're about 4 weeks ahead of ourselves, I think, at this point. So when it goes live, I'll send you links and art and promos and all that stuff for you to share on your own circle.
Great. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
We'll do that. Send some people your way too. So it'll be helpful.
Excellent. Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks to all of you who support this show on Patreon. You keep Permission to Heal up and running. If you want to become a valued patron, please go to www.patreon.com/permission to heal. That's www.patreon.com/permission to heal. After we pay expenses, 25% goes to scholarships at the Karen Treatment Centers to transform lives impacted by addiction. Your support is contributing directly to helping people and their families transform and heal from addiction. This is a cause very close to my heart, as my mother died of the effects of opiate addiction, and it tore my family to pieces. Thank you so much for supporting Permission to Heal and my mission to support others through their healing journey, through addiction, through Karen Treatment Centers. You are vital to our success. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Permission to Heal. I hope you found it moving and inspirational. Please remember, you don't need anyone else's permission to trust and follow your heart. You have the power within you. Subscribe to Permission to Heal so you don't miss any new episodes, and please share this with your friends.